Welcome back, everyone, to Lem's Cryptoverse. So today is one of the most historical days in crypto, and I'll tell you why, but I'm sure you're aware of it. So basically, there was a court ruling on whether XRP, which is backed by the for-profit Ripple Corporation, basically they're intertwined. There was a court ruling about whether or not the XRP token is an investment contract, meaning a security. So I'm not going to waste your time and spend hours and hours talking about what the news is. What I want to do is talk about the news as a framework and then tell you what the implications of that news are. So let me go over quickly the news and some tweets and all that good stuff that everyone talks about. So here's the news on XRP. Let me just minimize myself. The news, and I'm getting this from CoinDesk, is that Ripple's XRP token, so remember, Ripple is a for-profit corporation that's behind the XRP token. So Ripple XRP token surges 96%. It was originally up like 25, 30%, but now everyone's catching on. So it's surging 96% after the court rules XRP sales are not investment contracts, meaning they're not securities. Here you can see a little chart, but we're going to have a heat map that I'm going to show you later on. So it says here, the price action comes immediately after the District Court of the Southern District of New York. Why is everything in New York, by the way? Said the offer and sale of XRP on digital asset exchanges, meaning centralized exchanges, did not amount to an offer or sale of investment contracts. Now this is a very important part, as the record cannot establish the third Howey prong to these transactions. And I think you're all familiar with the Howey test. There are four factors that, and this goes back many years, I think it's 50 years, that determine whether or not something is a security or not. I'm not going to go over that with you. I promised I wouldn't go into the details on that. What else did I want to show you? That's about it. But I want to talk to you a little about what I think. You might be surprised to hear this. Most people say that crypto is not a security. I actually think if I had to choose whether it's a security or not, I think that crypto are securities. And I think they should be regulated by Congress as a separate asset, something in the middle between commodities or paintings and gold and securities. But if I had to choose, I think they are securities because you know what? They waddle like a duck and they quack like a duck. So think about them. Crypto, most of them are really like software companies. And would you say that software companies are not securities? So I think that software companies, it's pretty obvious they are securities. But just because something's a security doesn't mean it's the end of it. They can have their own separate filing mechanism. And that's got to come from Congress. Congress needs to give a clear rules of the road. And we need clear regulatory guidance. Gary Gensler, and here you're going to agree with me, Gary Gensler, he's just shooting everyone. He's doing lawsuits. He's doing regulation by issuing lawsuits. So regulation via enforcement. And that's not a good way to do anything. So I'm going to talk to you about Gary later because there is an implication. So let's go to what's going on here. So Brad Garlinghouse, we all know who that is. I'm not going to say who that is. He talked about it and he retweeted this. He said, a huge win today. As a matter of law, XRP is not a security. Also a matter of law, sales on exchanges are not securities. Sales by executives are not securities. And other XRP distributions to devs, developers, to charities, to employees are not securities. Hey, here's another tweet. If you want to follow someone, rather than following Brad Garlinghouse out of Ripple, I highly recommend you follow Metalawman because he's more objective and he's very knowledgeable on all crypto regulation. And here he's congratulating everyone. I'm not going to go over this, but I recommend you follow him. By the way, this is not investment advice, and I am not paid by anyone, whether that's a crypto, whether it's Metalore Man or Brad Garlinghouse. I am not paid to put out any of these videos. So let's go over the heat map. So what are the implications? What happened? Well, as you can see, it's a sea of green, except for BCH. So Bitcoin, let me just refresh this. I think I just did. Let me just do it again because everything keeps going up like crazy. So as you can see, everything's up like crazy. I can't believe that Bitcoin's up today. Bitcoin's up 4.3% because what's happening is, if we recall, when SEC a few weeks ago, I guess it was a month ago, maybe it was a few weeks ago, the SEC sued Binance and Coinbase. And the SEC in both those lawsuits, they specifically named tokens and coins that were securities. And I think you know the names. Basically, these are the most popular names out there. And these names include, well, they were suing XRP, but they named ADA, that's Cardano, Solana, Polygon, Matic, Filecoin. They didn't name Polkadot because Polkadot had meetings over multiple years, I believe, with the SEC, in which the SEC agreed with them one-on-one that Polkadot is not a security. But otherwise, the SEC basically said that everything else is a security. So that's why these tokens are up, because they may be relisted on some centralized exchanges. Let's go to the next thing. So what are the implications? I already told you the first implication is that all coins are going to go up in value. The second implication is that it's going to be very tough now to do something like this. And here's the headline from March 2023. It says, emojis count as financial advice. And so it says here, a New York judge, yes, it's always in New York, a New York judge ruled that Dapper Labs, that's /Flow, the creators of the NBA Top Shot moments, that they use emojis to indicate a return on investment for investors. And these emojis included the rocket and some other ones. I forgot. Here we go. The bag and the chart going up. And here it says, former SEC branch chief Lisa Brancanca, she said Federal Judge ruled that these emojis, and she's specifically citing these, mean one thing: a financial return on investment. So she's warning of legal consequence. So I think this case is weakened. So that's the third implication, or second, whatever. Next implication. Okay, let me try. I'm trying to get to the title here. Okay. A few weeks ago, I met Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, and she indicated to me that she was going to reintroduce her crypto bill from last year. And as you know, this is a Democrat and Republican sponsored bill. And so she reintroduced this bill, I think it was July 12th, like yesterday, with Senator Lummis. And so this is a second round, but she did a better job. Both of them did a better job trying to bring in everyone, both people that are for crypto, people against crypto, people for crypto regulation, people that are against crypto regulation. And this includes Senator Elizabeth Warren, because we know she just hates crypto and she's trying to destroy it. So I'm going to give you some details of this. I like this, by the way. I think this is one of the best crypto bills out there, but it's not as good as the MiCA bill out in Europe. I think those bills are better because they label crypto as a separate asset. Like I said earlier, I don't think that crypto is not is like a painting. I think it's more like a security. But you get two different sides, and what happens is one side tends to say it's more like a commodity, another one says they're all securities. It's very tough to get a middle line. But let's go over some of the key parts of this. And then I'm going to talk to you about the implication. Okay, let's see here. It says the SEC would take a back seat, so that's a fourth implication. The SEC would take a back seat in a crypto oversight. And we all know that a few weeks ago, I think it was Senator McHenry, they're trying to disintermediate Gary Gensler and put someone that oversees him. But that's another thing going on. But let me read this to you. So it says here that this bill would require that crypto exchanges be overseen by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, and that all stablecoin issuers be regulated by depository institutions. So here we're moving, excuse my voice, it's going hoarse. So we're moving the regulation from the SEC, which is trying to gain power here. There's a power struggle between the SEC and the CFTC. So here, Lummis and Gillibrand are saying that the exchanges should be overseen by the CFTC. And then it says that broadly, it says that assets that don't give investor financial interest in a business should not be considered securities, even if they benefit from the entrepreneurial and managerial efforts to determine the value of the assets, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to give it to you in layman's terms. What Lummis and Gillibrand is saying is that even though these, like I say, these cryptos, the software companies, that they're not securities, even if their investors in those crypto benefit from what's going on in the growing ecosystem of those layer ones or whatnot. So, of those blockchains. So even if we benefit as investors from the increase in value of those blockchains, including revenues and network effect, they're saying, Lummis and Gillibrand, that they're not securities and they're outside of the SEC's reach. And then there's also stable coins. I don't know if it's here, but again, it's CFTC oversight, and they want to work on specifically, and I agree with them fully, on DeFi. For example, outright banning rehypothecation. So the problem with human nature overall is if you give someone leverage, they will leverage the industry to death. If you give them any leverage, they'll leverage it as high as it can, like 10 times, 100 times. And they will rehypothecate, meaning they will use the same collateral to back more lending. It's a very sick and dangerous thing that goes on in all of finance, not just crypto. It's just human nature. It goes out throughout the finance industry. Oh, here's stablecoins. So I spoke to Kirsten Gillibrand about this, and I don't think it's mentioned here, but she mentioned to me that stablecoins should be backed by collateral, meaning not just any collateral like Bitcoin. It should be backed by the US dollar. Let me see what CoinDesk says. They say that stablecoins, typically dollar-based, like Tether and Circles, can only be issued by banks or credit unions regulated by the federal government or by states, and it would let existing issuers jump online first. So this is a little more devil in the details besides what I said. So let's go to the next implication. This actually is a negative implication. I forgot why I said it's implication, but I think that I said that what I did say is that crypto is going to go up a lot in value because of what's going on with XRP not being a security. But I want to say that there is something to watch out for. Let's say that. Let's not call it implication. Let's say it's something to beware of. Gemini, and those are the Winklevoss twins. There's soon DCG, Digital Currency Group. And this could have a profound effect on crypto, because if Gemini wins that lawsuit, there's going to be a lot of selling of Bitcoin and other crypto from DCG. So just be careful of that. Okay, here's some more, implications. Everyone's getting greedy now, so just be careful. And this is from BTC Tools. It's showing that we've reached a greed area because of what's going on. So let's go to 1 year. You could see that we're in green here, and this is greedy. So just be careful. Try not to chase this. It's actually better to buy Bitcoin now than altcoins, because altcoins are starting to get speculative, so just be careful. But I'm going to talk to you about the big implications right now. I think we're at the 5th biggest implication, and this is the biggest of them all. There's at least 1 or 2 hearings coming out. And here's what's going on. Here, you can read right here, there's an oversight of the SEC Division of Corporate Finance. That's July 18th, Tuesday. And this is led by Patrick McHenry, he's, as you know, pro-crypto. And I think he's going to really get on Gary Gensler's case. And then we have another hearing coming up. This one is Gary Gensler is set to appear before the Senate Appropriations hearing coming soon. So I think this is a different hearing than the one I just mentioned to you. So I'm not going to go over it. I just want to go over what the biggest implication is. The biggest implication of all this is that Gary Gensler, who's been speaking up both sides of his mouth, right? The SEC in the past, and even Gary Gensler has said Ethereum, for example, is not a security. But then when Gary Gensler testified a month or 2 ago, 3 months ago, he's testified so many times on getting mixed up. He failed to actually say whether or not Ethereum or even Bitcoin is a security. So he's been speaking on both sides of his mouth. And at the same time, he's sued at least 50 to 55 times over the last year. And he's won most of these suits, by the way. So the point is, he says, and here's my big issue. I have a few big issues with him. Number one, he's speaking on both sides of his mouth. You don't know what the truth is or what he's thinking. And number two, he said that the securities law that goes way back to 1933, 1934, the investment corporate, I'm forgetting the name of it, Securities Act, basically the act that regulates securities and exchanges. He says that those acts from way back when are sufficient enough, and we do not need an updating from Congress. And I totally disagree with that. So he's saying that all crypto, maybe with the exception of Bitcoin, should be regulated by the SEC. And I disagree with that 110%. Yes, I think that crypto might be a security, but we need new regulation from Congress. So what's going to happen? What is the biggest implication? I think that Gary Gensler, within the next few weeks, there's a pretty high probability that he will either get fired or more likely he will resign, because there's too much going on now. He's gotten courts promoting Algorand before he became SEC chairman. And he also got courts working with FTX's Sam Bankman-Fried. So he's got too much dirt, and he said too many contradictory things. And also, like I said, he's not giving clear guidance to anyone, especially Coinbase. What he did with Coinbase was not right? If you remember, he invited crypto blockchains and Coinbase to the SEC, and then he backstabbed them. So what he's doing is not ethical, and there's no clear guidance. So I don't want to talk your ear off, but basically, I think I gave you 5 or 6 implications of what this XRP judge said, basically being a not invested security, what they are. And with the biggest one is Gary Gensler is probably going to resign. One last thing, which I forgot to tell you, is when the judge said that the selling of XRP was not a security, he was talking about to the public. I don't think he addressed the selling of XRP to institutions. And in that manner, I think they're going to say that it was a security. So this is not over, my friends. So I hope you enjoyed this. And if you enjoyed it, have a look at my deep dive in which I talked about how the token economics of Ripple is just horrible. And the Ripple Foundation holds like $20 billion of Ripple. And I think they're going to, according to their vesting schedules, you can see here, they're going to be dumping Ripple. So just be careful out there. And here's the deep dive right here. Just be careful out there, because I still think that XRP is a pump and dump, and the Ripple Corporation is going to take advantage of this and dump a lot of Ripple XRP onto the market. Well, thank you all for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to us and hit that like button. Bye-bye, everyone.